In the historic city of Natchez, Mississippi, Lena Brown Bradley was a force. For over 30 years, she wasn't just a teacher. She was a mentor, a pillar of her community who had shaped generations of children. To the world, she was a respected educator, a published poet, and a loving mother. To her youngest son, Zachary, she was the mom who never stopped believing in him. But behind the family portraits and proud social media posts, a dark secret was festering. It was a secret that would not only shatter their lives, but would expose a betrayal so twisted it would leave a 26-year law enforcement veteran and his deputies in need of counseling. This isn't just a story of a murder, it's a story of a calculated, gruesome cover up, carried out by the one person a mother should be able to trust with her life. It's a story that starts with a worried phone call from a son and ends with a discovery so horrific the sheriff would call it the most heinous crime he'd ever witnessed. How does a son resentment boil over into a plot to not just end his mother's life, but to literally erase her from existence? And how did investigators piece together a puzzle when the killer had gone to such unthinkable lengths to destroy every last piece of the evidence, including the victim herself? The first sign that something was wrong came on the evening of April 4th, 2024. Lena Bradley's eldest son was growing more and more concerned. He hadn't heard from his mother since the day before, which was completely out of character. For the woman who always answered a call or replied to a text, her silence was alarming. He knew his youngest brother, Zachary Jackson Jr., lived with her. After calling her repeatedly with no answer, his concern turned into dread. He called the Adams County Sheriff's Office and asked for a welfare check, just hoping for a simple explanation. Lena Bradley was a fixture in Natchez. A graduate of Alcorn State University, she dedicated her life to the local school district, and her impact was profound. She had taught many of the town's residents, and in some cases, their own children. She was a woman of faith, a poet, and a mother who celebrated her children's successes with pride online. Just 2 years earlier, she posted about Zachary's graduation, writing, "So proud of you, Zachary. You persevered as God removed the obstacles in your path. You are blessed and highly favored." She wasn't the kind of person to just vanish. As deputies drove to her home, her son couldn't only wait and pray, having no idea that the truth was worse than his darkest fears. The search for Lena was about to begin in the one place she should have been the safest, her own home. When deputies from the Adams County Sheriff's Office arrived at Lena Bradley's home on Melanie Road, a sense of unease hit them immediately. Her car was in the driveway. Inside, they found her keys, purse, and cell phone. All signs of a life that was suddenly interrupted. Not one that was planned to be left. The house was strangely clean, and the strong smell of cleaning products hung in the air, something her son later said was unusual. As the officers moved through the home, they heard a strange splashing sound. It was coming from a locked downstairs bedroom. They knocked, but no one answered. When they forced the door open, they were met with a bizarre and disturbing sight. It was 29-year-old Zachary Jackson Jr., Lena's youngest son. He was splashing water in the toilet, which contained a strange, dark, sludgy substance. At that moment, they didn't know what it was, but they knew something was terribly wrong. It was the first piece of a horrifying puzzle. Zachary was taken into custody at the scene, but the main question remained: where was Lena Bradley? The home had been scrubbed clean, yet her son was found in a locked bathroom. Trying to flush away some unknown material, investigators led by Sheriff Travis Patton knew this was no longer a simple welfare check. It had become a sinister and complex investigation. They secured the scene and began a full search of the property, a decision that would lead them from a strange bathroom discovery to the stuff of nightmares. With a storm approaching and the risk of evidence being washed away, deputies began a careful search of the 2-acre property. The tension was thick. Suddenly, a scream pierced the air. It directed officers to a suitcase left on the property. What they discovered inside confirmed their worst fears and revealed a new level of horror. The suitcase contained human remains, including a human head. The respected educator, the beloved mother, Lena Brown Bradley, hadn't just been killed. She had been systematically dismembered. This gruesome discovery cast the scene in the bathroom in a new, sickening light. That black substance Zachary was so frantically trying to flush away was not just some odd material, it was his mother. To confirm this, investigators called a plumber to excavate the home's plumbing. As the plumber worked to unclog the pipes, more human flesh was recovered. The horrifying truth became clear. Zachary had allegedly killed his mother, chopped her body into small pieces, and was trying to dispose of her remains by flushing them down the toilet, in a calculated attempt to erase all traces of his crime. Adams County Sheriff Travis Patton was 26 years in law enforcement, was shaken. He later said, "This is by far the most heinous crime that I've ever witnessed in my entire life." He described it as kind of a case that follows an officer home, a scene of such unimaginable brutality that it required counseling for everyone who was there. The search for Lena Bradley was over, but the search for justice was just beginning. And the prime suspect was his son, who should have been her protector. With Zachary Jackson Jr. in custody and the horrific evidence piling up, investigators focused on the one question that hung over everything: why? The answer they soon found was rooted in a common family dispute that had taken an incredible, violent, and uncommon turn. It was a story of rising tension and a mother's last desperate attempt to reclaim peace in her own home. Family members told investigators that the relationship between Lena and Zachary had become deeply strained. They described Zachary as mentally unstable but also very calculating. Despite his known mental health issues for which he was reportedly unwilling to get help, his actions seemed chillingly methodical. The breaking point came on April 3rd, 2024, the day before Lena was reported missing. Fed up with her son's behavior, Lena Bradley went to the Adams County Courthouse and filed formal eviction papers to have him removed from her home. According to family members, Zachary had threatened her because of it. Often the most dangerous moment in a volatile situation is when one person tries to leave or force a change. For Lena, that decisive action was a death sentence. Her attempt to set a boundary and seek a peaceful legal solution was met with the most extreme violence. She went to court on a Wednesday, and by Thursday she was gone. The investigation painted a grim picture. A son, enraged by the threat of eviction, allegedly murdered his mother. But he didn't stop there. He then began the gruesome, systematic process of dismembering her body and flushing her remains, a depraved effort to cancel a crime born from a son's twisted rage. Within 24 hours of that first welfare check, Zachary Jackson Jr. was formally charged. The initial charges include first-degree murder, mutilation, and tampering with physical evidence, which spoke directly to the horrific state in which Lena Bradley's remains were found. When Zachary appeared in court for his hearing, observers were shocked by his demeanor. He seemed indifferent, apathetic, and even made small talk with deputies, showing no remorse for the crime he was accused of committing against his own mother. He later waived his right to a preliminary hearing, and his case was bound over to a grand jury. He is currently being held without bond at the Adams County Jail. Sheriff Patton emphasized the sheer depravity of the act, noting the psychological toll it took on his entire team, who required counseling to process the scene they had witnessed. The case of Lena Brown Bradley is a devastating reminder that the deepest evil can sometimes be found not in the shadows, but within our own homes, behind the facade of a family. Her story is a testament to a life of service and love, tragically cut short by an unthinkable betrayal. What are y'all's thoughts on this case and the chilling details of the investigation? Join me in the conversation in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into complex cases like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Lena Bradley deserved to be remembered for the light she brought to her community, not for the darkness that ended her life. The legal process for Zachary Jackson Jr. is ongoing, and for a grieving family and a community in shock, the path to healing will be a long one, forever haunted by a son's twisted betrayal.